What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Stoic Context. Today we are going to react to another Kevin Samuels video. Before we get into it, make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm going to be saving my commentary for the end of the video, so stay tuned for that.
That's the truth. I'm telling a lot of
You
women.
got to turn YouTube off in the background.
What?
Sorry.
What do you got for me?
Okay, well, first of all, love your channel. I think you do great work. I more want to know what you would advise for like a early 20s. Yes, I know sometimes you don't like the early 20s women, but what you would advise for someone who has seen the struggle and doesn't want to replicate that. I didn't go to school for my degree. I work in social media marketing, but there's nothing like super stability about that, and I more want to be taken care of. So I do the necessary things, compatible and sweet and all those things. I want to know more like, in COVID, you can't really do much, but like, what do you recommend?
Okay, I'm not sure on the question because first you said something about being early 20s and that I don't like it or what?
Well, typically the younger the girl, the more you kind of like are like, all right, girl,
It depends on what she's saying.
Well, I'm saying, what would you advise for?
Hold on. Well, I need to respond to that because I can't just leave that out there. When a young woman's coming in giving her opinion, that's fine. But when she starts giving advice, I have to balance that out against her lived experience and her knowledge. So you can have an opinion, but when you give advice, it needs to be against something that's credible. That's when I tend to brush it
Sorry
off.
about that.
All right, so you're younger, and you want, what do you want?
I want your advice on what you think I should do to get the lifestyle I want.
I don't know what lifestyle you want. So let's start there. How old are you?
23.
And what, do you want to be married?
Yes.
You want children?
Yes.
How many?
2.
2. You know what comes next? Do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant with the first child?
I would not like to pay significant bills.
All right. And do you live in the northeast, south, or west of the country?
Right now I live in the west, but I'm from the south. That's probably where I'd go back to.
Okay. So how much would a man need to take? How much would a man need to make to fund the kind of lifestyle that you and your 2 children, how much would he need to make annually to provide the kind of lifestyle you want?
I would like minimum 300,000 a year.
300, and that's like Atlanta dollars. Okay. So what kind of men make that kind of money? What do they do? Just some professions.
Athletes. CEOs. Doctors, lawyers.
Okay. Athletes. Let me go ahead and turn this. Athletes. CEOs of what?
I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Well, see, that's part of the problem, right? Because you can identify what you want, but when I'm starting to ask you to fill it out, it starts to get vague. What are some of the, give me some, what are some jobs that you think, or how about this? At what age do you think a man starts making around $300,000 or more?
30.
30. All right.
Yeah.
What's the oldest man you've ever dated?
Early 30s.
What, early 30s meaning 31 or what?
Like 35.
All right. So, number one, and what percentage of men earn $300,000 or more in this country?
I'm not sure of the number.
Less than 5%.
Okay.
So it sounds to me that you really don't have a firm grasp on reality of men and earning in this country. Because the first thing that came out of your mouth was athletes. That's concerning to me.
Well, I didn't mean if they were, husband material.
Well, but when I asked you, but it's still concerning. And then CEOs. See, you have to understand what it is you want and the reality of getting it. You want an exceedingly small group of men, and men don't start earning that kind of money until their late 30s. Between 45 and 55 is when men earn that kind of money. not early 30s.
Okay.
So would you want to be married to a man who's 45?
Preferably no. We probably would clash.
Why?
We have different interests.
What do you mean?
I feel like he probably would be a little bit further progressed than me, and we wouldn't be able to see eye to eye on things.
What did he need to see eye to eye with you on?
Say that one more time.
What does he need to see eye to eye with you on?
I mean, let me rephrase that. I feel like we probably wouldn't have that much chemistry because I have talked to guys around that age, and I feel like we just don't have as much chemistry.
I don't care about
Like
chemistry.
I have to put certain parts of myself away to be more
Ma'am, I don't know what you're talking about. Chemistry, what does that mean?
like I don't know, just the younger. I have to be more mature and more like less youthful. Does that make sense?
Nope.
Well then I don't know how to word it. I could do it, but I would feel like I would be less of myself, less youthful, less.
I gotta be really direct with you then.
Go ahead.
Then date men. Then you don't want to look, sweetheart.
Go ahead. Tell me.
You're not the asset. He is.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you guys want it all. You want chemistry and love and connection. When you want a man who's making $300,000 a year, so you don't have to work. I got news for you. You are going to have to get on his program. So if you got to put up the whatever the youthful stuff is, that's the cost of entry to get a man who's earning that kind of money. If not, go deal with a guy who's 26 years old or 27 years old making $50,000, $70,000 a year, and you got to work.
Okay.
Because what I'm hearing from you is you don't seem to understand. Number one of the problems in our community is we prize youth. Black people value and prize youth. When I say dating older, in our community, it's like a taboo. In other communities, it makes perfect sense, especially if you want a higher standard of living. You have to marry a man who is earning that. Look at your president. How many years older is he than his wife?
Are you asking me?
Huh?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Donald Trump is how old do you think his wife is?
I don't know. 40, 50?
She's not 74. And that's the point.
Okay.
So
what do you recommend I do?
I don't think you're gonna. How tall are you?
5'9".
Dress size?
4 to 6.
4 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you weigh the last time you weighed yourself?
157.
All right. I don't think you'd be really cut out for the kind of man you're talking about.
Why?
Because one, you're going to have to get on his program. He's not going to get on yours. Chemistry, all these other kind of things, that's love talk. That's for young people. That's not for women who want to be, huh?
No, I'm listening. Go ahead, sir.
You want physical shit, and you can have that, but it's gonna be struggle love. You want to be taken care of. You want to be taken care of. Then that means a man who's making that kind of money, he's gonna be at a certain place in his life. And here's the thing: what is he gonna need from you? And it sounds like you said you're gonna clash, and I'm gonna tell you why you clash, because you wouldn't know how to serve a man at that level. How have you ever served a man?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Where?
I mean, I'm from the South, so we kind of.
I don't know, ma'am. I don't know. I'm just, as a 23. What's your longest relationship?
Year and a half.
How old was he?
You're not gonna like it. He was young. He was my age. It was years ago.
Okay. And how long ago? Years ago, ma'am. You're 23.
It was when I was 20, but I haven't dated anyone my age since I was 20.
Why? Okay. Why not?
Because I want to be taken care of.
Yeah.
I was more asking if like
I
I
mean,
could have someone that I enjoy spending time with.
I
I
don't.
don't have to
Okay,
put.
but what I'm trying to explain to you is,
Yes, sir.
I, your
What?
mindset seems to be set up incorrectly. Okay,
Okay.
it's not about what you want. It's what
Okay.
value can you deliver to a man who's in the top 5% of earners. You're competing
Okay.
with the women around him. That's what you're
Mm.
competing with. You're competing with women who are already. You're competing with all the women who don't want to work. What are you bringing to the table at 20 that's different than those women? And so
Okay.
when I hear, talk about chemistry and uh, things you'd have to sacrifice, you're already in the, dating a guy at that age is one thing. Yeah, guys will date you, the
Mhm.
possibility of sex, but marrying you now, because it doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like you're really in it for anything other than what you want. You want to be taken care of. Okay, well, what is he gonna get for taking care of you?
What
What is
should
he
he
gonna?
get?
Hmm?
I mean, the
What
agreeableness, right? That's what you always say. The agreeableness and the
agreeableness
youth
is standard though.
fitness.
Okay, agreeableness is standard.
Okay.
The so sex is standard. Children standard.
Hmm.
Agreeableness is standard.
Hmm.
What is he going to get special about you that he cannot get from the dozens and hundreds of women who want a man on his level?
I don't know. We probably all are competing in the same way,
Exactly, which is why your mind isn't set up in the
which
right
is
way.
why I
So,
gotta settle for some things.
well, it's not settled. It's just you don't see. I need you guys to take this word "settle" out. This "settle" word is bothering you. You don't qualify for anything better. It's just like saying I settled to go to, University of Georgia when you wanted to go to Ivy League, but you didn't have Ivy League grades or Ivy League SATs. You didn't settle. You got them where you could get. And at 23, the kind of women who get a man, and do you care what race he is?
No, no, sir.
All right. So you said you dated a man who was older and you guys clashed.
No, we didn't clash. I just knew I had to be less of myself.
And what does that mean?
Like, he was a white guy, so
Okay.
like there were certain things I wouldn't talk about, certain
But
ways I wouldn't talk, like certain
man,
jokes I wouldn't make. Like,
I don't know what
I can
that
get into
means.
childish things. Like, I don't know. I'm
Certain
more of like a funny, charismatic type, so I felt like I had to
okay.
limit
Well, you had to be a grown up.
that. Yes,
Welcome to the world.
but I feel like I would have a more enjoyable time in the company of someone more like me. Is that wrong to like want someone of a high status? Because like I can enjoy
No.
their company more.
Okay, okay. You want it all. Listen to me very carefully. You cannot
How
have it
is that
all.
all? That's like a
All right.
simple thing, no?
No, it's okay. But you want him to make $300,000 a year. Pay attention. The man who's making that kind of money is working 12, 10, 12, 14 hours a day. He's a serious man. He's
Mhm,
ambitious. He's driven. And a wife is going to be, I don't think you ladies understand what it takes for a man to be at that level. And what you're saying is you couldn't be youth. That's exactly why, man. You are not ready. You're not really cut out for a man at that level. He's a
mm,
serious man and he doesn't need a 23-year-old girl. He needs a
mhm.
woman. That's not an offense, but where are your woman skills?
Okay, I understand.
Do you?
Yes, sir.
What are your woman skills? How can you help a man who's 40?
Well, I guess being a helpmate, biblical terms, supporting, um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The
And that's
the
why
the
and
support
this
second
and the
thing
reason I
the
ask these
second
hard questions is because women, young ladies like yourself,
uh-huh,
to overlook the men that really would be a good fit for you emotionally
uh-huh.
because you're looking for a money outcome. Ma'am,
Who do you think would be a fit for me emotionally?
uh look. yeah, I'm not done with this part of it because
Okay.
here's the reason I'm about done with it because I 72% of women in this country, mothers, have to work full or part time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why so many black women don't want to work. And then you deliver nothing of value that's special.
Tell me what I need to deliver, and it'll be done.
All right. Destiny. Uh,
Hello, Kevin.
hello. I'm just. Oof. You would never work with a man like myself or a man on my level. You no way. I mean, let me do this real quick. Look,
Take your
I'm gonna
time.
hold on. Let me just tell you, you're cute, and you're probably
Okay.
used to getting by on your looks, but that ain't special, sweetheart.
Okay.
And you cannot step to a man who's got his shit together, who's going somewhere in life, thinking you're the prize.
Okay.
Your attitude is wrong, and you're looking for a quick fix. Deal with men on your emotional level because you're not a woman. You're still in the girl phase. Girls need boys. Women need men. That's why I tried to
Okay.
cut it down because even the way you're asking questions is out of line. And I'm trying not to check you because you're young. You're out of line for what it is you want. You don't qualify for it. If you didn't look the way you thought, the way you look, and you wouldn't be asking for what you're asking for. You'd be asking for a regular guy.
Okay. Can I ask you a question?
You're still going. Go ahead, Destiny. You can ask a question so
Okay.
I can be done with it. Go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead, young lady. Ask your question. And
Okay.
I'll get under Destiny. Go ahead.
I don't want to be a little girl who needs a little boy. What do you recommend I do to qualify for the men that I want?
This is where the school's going to come into play. You guys are going to have to learn how to do all this stuff because unfortunately you didn't learn when you were at home in the community. You didn't learn it. So I don't begrudge you, but where'd you go to college?
Didn't go.
You didn't go?
No, sir.
All right. Well, so you graduated high school.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you live?
I live in Los Angeles.
With who? Do you live by yourself?
Yes, sir.
Who you live with?
By myself.
All right. You don't have to go to school for it because I don't know. You didn't learn it, and I can't. And I don't want to get too much further into it. If you didn't go to college. That's a whole range of people around your age and dating that you missed out on. So going straight from high school, it's going to be really hard for a high school. And I mean, and so it's going to be real hard for a high school graduate to be talking about a man in the top 5% of earners.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff. And if you want that, I don't know why you want it other than the fact is you don't want to work, but you don't get it just because you want it. You have to earn it and deserve it before you get it.
I'm going to college.
Yeah, see there's like the certain level of immaturity and the lack of understanding in which she just can't understand. She just can't grasp it. It's tough. She doesn't have that maturity yet. She doesn't have that ability to properly discern and to break things down and have a compass that's gonna lead her in the right direction. She doesn't have that yet. She doesn't have that ability. And it's partly because, yes, she is young. But even that, this woman is coming in and her spirit seems very dimmed. And like, she's like one of those women that drag her hands on the ground as she walks and drags her feet and looks down and kicks rocks. There's no life there. There's no excitement. It sounds like it's all a dark hole that she's just positioned herself to sit in. But notice this. When she was speaking about the time that she dated this white man, she said that I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be like, laughing and pretty much be a person that can be themselves and act a bit erratic and, joke. And it's funny because she didn't even seem like even half of that person in this call. But notice this. When it comes to the white boyfriend, she stood in line because she know they don't play that. She knows that a woman is not going to come in, especially from another race, having all the stereotypes that we have on us and act just like those things. So women like that will give a totally different side to that man. But guess what? If she gets a black man, right, or a man of any other race, she's going to expect to be herself fully and act immature. So with the white man, she won't act immature. She'll stay in line. Any other race, she's going to act immature. She's going to want to be herself. She's going to want to be outgoing, laughing, making jokes. Like Kevin said, these men are serious. They're not going to be playing around. They don't have time for you to be being an outcast. But again, as Kevin said, this woman doesn't qualify for a man of that stature. She doesn't. Even some of the questions that she's asking, you can tell that she isn't primed to be in that position. She's not there.
You were saying?
Never mind. I don't even. Never mind. Because never mind.
I don't
Thank
understand, ma'am. You were talking about
Mr.
high
Kevin.
value men and confidence.
I just was saying once upon a time, because I'm 33, so it's like I met quite a few men in my time. It's just the type of guys that I actually like. If when I get them, I don't know, it's like I believe. It's not saying that I believe. I know it's a confidence thing. Because it's like it's not that I can't obtain it or I can't get it. It's
What do
I
you
had
mean
it.
by high
I
value?
have it
What do you
now.
mean by what do you mean by high value? Are you talking about the kind of money these guys make?
Just it's actually, sir, it's not even about the money. It's about the mentality. I like I like alpha males. I really
You like
do.
alpha
That's just
male.
my thing.
Okay. Do you have any children?
I have one son.
Okay.
And I had him at 27. I'm 33.
And high value men tend to make on the higher side of the income bracket too.
Yes, this is true. I'm not denying that.
So you're looking for a man that's like a 6-figure guy?
He don't have to be 6 figures. All I'm saying is that I just want someone that has class, that has value, basically.
Okay.
That's pretty much it. It's not even about a money thing.
Well, where's the father of your child?
He's around. He's around. He helps. He take care of his son. There's nothing wrong with that. He's definitely not the issue. He's a good person. He's a good person.
But why aren't you guys together?
All I can say.
Was he a high value man? Was he a high value man?
Very valued. He's valued.
No. No.
Very.
He was. Say again. He was very valued.
He's he's in my eyes. To me, he's high value. He has his stuff together. He's he's a good man. He is. He's a great man. But
So
for
whoa.
me,
But if he's a high value man and he's a great man in your eyes and has his stuff together, and you already have a baby with him, Why are you out here trying to find another one? Why don't you just get with the one you got?
I'm not, well, sir, I mean, he said that I was too good for him, like I was too nice, basically.
Okay.
He, in my eyes, he prefer more girls of time on the hood side. I'm not exactly that. I like to hold conversations. I like to learn things. I like to do things. He's not quite that type of person, which I
So
knew
why did you
then.
give him?
It's
So
just
why
at
did
the
you give him?
time when
Hold on,
I
hold on, hold on, hold
met him.
on. Right. Then why did you give him a baby?
Well, honestly, I kept him because I honestly
Why did
didn't
you
think
give
I
him
could
a?
have a
You,
child. I'm
no.
listening.
You gave this man a child, and I'm asking you, why'd you have a baby with this man if he wasn't? See, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Okay.
Why'd you have a kid with a man who ain't worth being with?
Honestly, I had a kid because I didn't want to have an abortion, and I was old enough and kind of doing, good enough to have him. I mean, we were good, but once the baby came, he just kind of flipped. I don't want to. Yeah,
Okay.
he kind of flipped
All right.
basically.
All right, ma'am. The reason I ask you is because you came on talking about confidence and changing and high value, and you're all over the place. I'm just not getting it. And 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 again,
All
another.
I was saying, just to answer.
Well, you can't answer
I'm sorry. I just
the question you were answering, ma'am, is see when your life is chaotic like this, it's hard for people to take your opinion seriously.
okay. That's fair.
Ladies, people are calling in to get advice and they're listening to a woman who says she confidence and this and that and can change but you're not doing it in your own life. I want a high value man. I want an alpha male. All right. What about your ex? Well, he's a good man and a great character. Well, why aren't you with him? Well, because he ain't that. What?
Well, no, he
No,
said. Well,
ma'am. No,
sir, he said that.
I've heard enough. I've heard enough. I've heard enough. I've heard what you had to say. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and that's okay. But I would say this: high value men have something to do with income first. And men of a certain status do not want to be a stepfather to a woman who is a baby mama.
Okay.
You're not a widow. You're not a divorcee. You're a single. I don't call them single mothers. I call them baby mamas. And high value men
Okay,
do
that's fine.
well. I mean, you call into the show, so see. Here's the problem: when a lot of women like yourself speak on high value men like you've had them, and you haven't. You make it seem common. You did not have a high value man, but you tried to say like you did and like you're a woman on that level, and you're
Okay, well,
not. That's a problem. Just be who you are and embrace it.
I'm understanding what you say, but listening to your other shows versus blue collar versus white collar and all that stuff, when I think of a high value man, whether it's white collar or blue collar, I just think of a man who has standards. And not saying that my son's father wasn't a good person or whatever. I should have left when I had a chance to, which is true.
But you had a
Honestly, I
baby with
didn't
him.
think.
You had a baby with him.
No, well,
And what did
it's
he
no
what did he
excuses.
do for a living? What was his job? What was his job title?
Well, he's in construction welding, but it's like temp job. But
So he
he
was not
comes from
fully
a
employed,
well-off.
ma'am. He was not fully employed. You said temp
No,
jobs. That
he
means not
wasn't.
full,
But he's the
ma'am.
type of.
Not fully employed, meaning 2,000 hours a year. Temp job means temporary, meaning not full. He was not fully employed. You had
I'm
it.
not arguing with you.
I know you're not. I'm just getting the facts. I'm
Just
just getting the stuff straight. You were dealing with a man. You were having unprotected sex with a man who was not fully employed, and you had a child by a man who's not fully employed. He may be a nice guy. I'm not. I'm certainly not gonna run him down. I don't do that. But what I'm saying is, men are looking at the chaotic details of a woman's life, and they're not high value. A man with standards will not touch this. And it sounds like the man you're talking about that you had a child with did not even meet your minimum qualifications for your standard for you to stay. So how are you
I
talking on
take
high
my
value?
fault. Sir, I take my faults. I understand completely what you're saying. Like I said, I did have a child by a man who was
Ma'am,
working at the temporary
the
job.
man
So
you're not with, the man you had a child with is not even up to your minimum standard for you to remain with him.
this is 5 years ago. I'm not giving no excuse. Like I said, when I had a chance to leave, I should have left.
I'm sorry. Let's do that again. I don't get it, man. I just don't. I don't get it. We have so many women running around talking about high value this, high value that, and you don't have no high value, man. He ain't even have enough value for you to stay with him. I'm tired.
It's so funny because at the ending of this conversation, this woman sat there and said, I'm not, it was 5 years ago. And also, I'm not trying to make any excuses, but that's literally what she's doing. The man that she was with wasn't a high value man. So, what she's going to try to do now is convince everyone else that the man that she's pushed his next DNA, well, his legacy, his DNA, his genetics, push that into the next generation. And then she's going to sit here and try to convince us that he was high value. So it gives her the appearance that anyone she should be dealing with after is high value. And that's completely incorrect. Completely incorrect. She didn't even do things the proper way. She didn't get married. She didn't ask for the most basic form of commitment. Because now we live in a world where having a child is less serious than being married. At least a marriage, you could at least break and you guys can go your separate ways and no one is going to be tied to you for the rest of your life. Once you have a child with someone, you guys are tied, bonded together for life. So how could having a child be less serious than being married? And you don't get to deal with no bum, come out to the market older with a child, and then think a man of any type of stature or status is going to deal with you. Seriously, not seriously at least. Have you riding the CC? Possible. You getting his last name and being married and getting benefits and being that person? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely.
Hello. Hey,
My question is, how can
what's your
a
first name?
younger Destiny,
Okay, go ahead.
how can younger women like me connect with an older guy? I was once
How old
in
are you?
a
How old are you?
26.
Okay. Connect with an older guy?
Yeah, I was dating a guy. He told me he was 35,
Mm-hmm.
but he ended up being 42.
Mm-hmm.
And the relationship just ended. So I just kind of felt like once I knew his age, I really couldn't connect with him. And I just didn't
Why?
know.
Why?
I
Well,
just feel
first,
like
how old was he? 45?
no, he told no, he told me he was 35, but he
Mm-hmm.
ended up being 42.
So he was all of 9 years old. He told you he was, so
He
you're,
told me he was 35.
and you're 26. So
Yes,
he
and he
told you
ended
he
up
was
being
9 years
42.
older than, okay. So how old is, where's your dad?
He's not in my life.
Exactly. Tell her what she wins, Bob. She wins a list of daddy issues. Because women worldwide tend to prefer to date older men because older men tend to have already got all the game and stuff out of our system. We tend to be ready for relationships. We've had time to get out here and work and acquire resources. So, yeah. But if you didn't have a dad in your life, it's hard to look at a man, see what a man was supposed to do. What's the oldest man outside this last guy? What's your longest relationship?
A year and a half.
Uh, and how long ago was that?
That was two years ago.
And why did you guys break up?
I found out he had someone else.
He was cheating.
Yes.
How did you find that out?
Um, I was just over his place and she showed up.
Hmm. What'd she say?
Who are you? It was a big mess, and I'm just like, I just don't need it. I feel like I'm young enough to move on and
So
to find someone.
what's the oldest man you would want to date?
I would say 35, and
30.
I think that's why he said it.
Okay. And do you want to be married?
I do.
All right. Do you want to have children one day?
I absolutely do. Yes.
How many?
4 or 3.
Okay. And what city do you live in?
Kansas City, Missouri.
All right. Midwest. So, do you want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant with your first child?
I would say, yeah. I realize that we live in a world that it's almost required nowadays to live comfortably. So I wouldn't mind. I would definitely do that.
I said, do you want to have to though?
I don't want to have to, but I know realistic, I would.
Here's the problem with that answer. Most relationships break up. Uh, Money is cited as a problem, and women who say they wouldn't mind really do mind. And I'm just trying to ask you, what do you want? You mean you want to work until you're pregnant? You want to be on your feet working through the eighth month, 8 month and 2 weeks. Then you want to take off the last 2 weeks, go into labor, have a child, and then 12 weeks after you have that child, you want to go back to work. And then you want to do that again and get pregnant 3 to 6 months in the line and then do that again. And then another 3 to 6 months, get pregnant and do that again. And
Yeah,
have 3 kids in daycare.
I have a profession between photography and massage that I can take my kids with me.
Oh shit. Here we go. We're at it. Massage therapist. God damn it. Are you an actress too? Yes.
No, I said photography and
Oh, of
massage.
course. So you don't have a real job. You don't have a real job.
Oh,
Sorry, man. My ex-wife was a massager. You don't have a real job. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm just getting. I know what I'm talking about. So all this, you don't mind working. You ain't trying to. Anyway, um, let's get right to the rubber meets the road. How much would a man need to be able to make to support a family and a wife with 3 kids to give him a middle class lifestyle?
I would say 2K, 250, maybe 250, maybe in the Midwest.
Okay, it's closer to 350, but that's all right. Um, I'm still trying to be stuck on the fact that you're okay with working. I don't really believe that. I just don't. But I'll take it that. But the thing is, you don't have a profession where you're going into work. So when you're thinking of work, you mean you would be all right trying to give deep tissue massages at 8 weeks at 8 months pregnant?
That's when I will do for more photography work.
Right.
Um,
You're hoping you would do more photography work. How much money have you made as a photographer?
um, around 30,000.
Over what period of time?
A year.
$30,000 in 1 year. How much did you make as a massage therapist?
I'm still getting into that right now.
All right. So you're living on $30,000 a year.
Well, I also have a main job with doing post
You said
office, but yeah,
you said I mean, okay. How much do you make annually?
I make plus the around 80.
What's your main job?
Post office.
Government work.
Yes.
All right. Why is all this relevant, man? Because I need to understand how long have you been working for the post office?
I've been doing that for about 5 years now.
All right. So, and are you in the office? You a letter carrier? What kind of stuff we're talking about?
Letter carrier.
All right, ma'am. You're not. I find it hard to believe you want to be pregnant carrying letters at 8 months pregnant. And do you know anybody with children? Do you know anybody with kids?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends with kids.
How much is uh newborn newborn care monthly?
Say it again.
How much is newborn care monthly? Like daycare, that
Um,
kind of stuff. How much is that cost for a newborn?
I know some people I spoke to say it's about maybe 300, 200 a week, so roughly around almost 1,000.
For newborn care? Uh do some Google searching, but I think your number is low.
No, I
Oh,
wouldn't
okay,
think
ma'am.
so.
I already have. I have a kid. I know the business. I'm talking. I didn't ask you questions. I don't ask questions I don't know the answer to. I just say I want you to go find it out yourself. But anyway, let's see. It sounds admirable, but if 3 kids in the Midwest, you're going to. If you're still looking for somebody to make $250,000 to supplement your income of whatever you're making, how much would you want to have to make annually in addition to your husband's income? How about that?
I want to make 100K.
What percentage of women in this country make $100,000 or more? What percentage of women in this country make $100,000 or more annually?
I'm not sure.
Guess.
Roughly 60.
See what I mean, guys? Women don't know cost. 3% of women in this country make 3 to 4% of women in this country make $100,000 or more, and you say 60.
I'm almost there.
You just skipped over something that was very important to tell me how close you are. 3 to 4% of women in this country make 6 figures, and you're saying you're almost there. Congratulations, and I mean no disrespect to what I'm about to say. I really need you to understand. I mean no disrespect, but the bulk of your income comes from unskilled labor. It comes because you're employed by the federal government. You didn't negotiate that salary. You didn't do any. You didn't go get any special skills to earn that money. You apply for a well-paying job with government benefits. But if you were to lose that job, do you have the skills to make $100,000 a year? And the answer is no. That's what I need you to understand.
Right.
And I need everybody to understand what your skills are worth. So I think you need to rearrange your idea of what money is, because you thinking women are that making that much money is is incredible. And why it's all important is because how old would a man need to be making around $250,000 a year?
I would say upper 30s.
Upper 30s. Right.
38, 40.
Right. So again, if you want a man who's a higher earner, you're gonna have to deal with older men.
And that's why I called in, just to see the connection. Could there be a connection dating an older guy? Because we have totally different
Well, the
interests.
thing is, you're gonna have to get on his. Well, the thing is, the connection is not for. It's for you to get on his plan. He's the commodity. He's the prize in this scenario. He's the catch, because he's the one that will be carrying the bulk of the financial load for the family. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't care about love and chemistry or anything like that. Marriage is a practical thing. It's a business.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're talking about makes no sense to me, especially when you start putting financial restraints on it. Are you used to men chasing you?
No, no. I think that
I mean,
these
it's not. I'm
last
just.
two have been.
Go ahead.
They went after me, but no, I'm not used to it.
See, and what I said about getting on, it's a woman's job to look and see how she can nest in a man's situation. It's my job to provide a place for you to nest. I mean, if a man's having to go out and make $250,000, $300,000 a year, he's putting in hard work, long hours. He doesn't have time to try to romance you and all this other kind of stuff. He's putting in 12, 14-hour days. And this is one of the problems. I think so many of you young ladies really don't know what it takes to make the kind of money you're talking about. Think the kind of money you're talking about is a lot more available and easy. Case in point, you think 60% of women, thought that was a reasonable number to say 60% of women in the country make over $100,000. Then where are the poor women if the majority of women are making over six figures? You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And at 26, you should have a far more grown up look on life and relationships. If you want to have a middle class standard of life and due respect, you didn't go to college, right?
Yes, I did.
Did you graduate?
Yes.
And then you went to work at the post office?
Yeah, I was going into management.
What's your degree in?
Accounting.
How much student loan debt are you in?
I'm not in much. Roughly 10,000.
Okay. Why didn't you use your degree?
I just couldn't really get into anything, and that was a easy job.
You graduated on time?
Did I graduate on time? No.
What year did you graduate?
Graduated 2015.
5 years, man. You graduated on time. roughly. So in 5 years, you couldn't find an accounting job?
No, I couldn't.
That's
And
bullshit. That's bullshit.
no,
Stop.
no, I
Let's
really,
stop.
I really couldn't.
Listen. You went to college to get a degree for nothing then. And this is why dad is so important. There's no way in hell you should have gone to college, get a degree in accounting to go work at the post office. See, if you told me I couldn't get a job right out of school and I needed to pay bills, that's one thing. But you should have still been looking for an entry level accounting job anywhere. But you took the easy path, the government money. But unfortunately, ma'am, that means zero on your resume. If they were to lay you off next month, you would be an entry level worker anywhere. You wasted 5 years of employment time. I get it. The money is probably more at the post office than you could have made as an entry level accountant. But that's short term.
Hmm.
See, if you had been doing entry level accounting stuff, you could have actually been in a position to run accounting out of your home, a bookkeeper or something like that. Non-physical labor that you could do for a husband or a business, not physical labor as a massage therapist, not creative work that's extremely competitive and low end like photography. See, this is the difference with what a lot of non-black people do. Women are actually saying, you know what? I'll have a degree that can I actually work for someone, but I can also translate and work from home as a housewife. Or if my husband owns a business, I can be his bookkeeper. But you have no experience in that. And that's a gap. That's where men are so important because we don't allow you to just get out here and flutter around like you guys are doing, just because the money is better.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
I know. So when did you stop looking for a job in accounting?
Um, for a while, once I
Exactly.
um,
So you didn't even try, man. You stopped trying.
right.
Okay. So what I need you to hear is the kind of man you're talking about is a man that's driven. The top 5% of men in this country earn the kind of money you're talking about. The top 5%. And you're saying that I work at the post office. I'm a massage therapist trying to be. Working at the post office. I'm a photographer, and I'm trying to become a massage therapist. And you're talking to a man who's structured, disciplined, and a high earner, and your stuff is all over the place. That's why when you said it, I already did 3 broadcasts on women that high value men avoid, and it's because of this chaotic kind of flighty mindset. Men like the guys I described cannot see how you would be an asset to him. As what could he turn over to you? Even if he had a business, what could he turn over to you? What could you run for the business for the family?
I
So
mean, yeah.
so what I'm saying is, why are you becoming a massage therapist?
It's a business that is in my family, and eventually is going to be passed down to me. I'm a spa, so just gonna get into that trade.
Somebody already owns the business?
Yes,
Who?
my mom.
Can't make this shit up. So you're going to go get you're going to go get licensed with the state. How much is an hour massage in your city?
The average massage would be on the high end 80, so around 60, 75.
Yeah, 60, 75 at Massage Envy. $45, 45 to 50 at Massage Envy. So you'd have to ma'am, my ex-wife was this, and I'm telling you, it's not a profitable business. It's a business of flexibility.
Mhm.
So, this is fine as a single woman. Post office, photographer, massage, but you don't really sound like you even have time to date with all this other stuff going on. Yeah, I would say book a session. There's too much going on here. I mean, but I don't foresee this ending well. Especially if your mom is a massage therapist.
No,
Do you have any? Do you have any sisters?
she owns a spa. Yeah, I
Okay.
own a sister. She just moved down to Dallas.
Right. And where are all the men in your family?
My two brothers are
How
one
old
just
are
came
they?
back
How old are they?
28, and then one is 25.
They're not men yet. You got a bunch. You book a session. Because if you don't correct this ship and get a course, a ditch is very likely in the future. Because it sounds to me like you have a family full of creatives, and no male structure. I've seen this picture before many times, and it doesn't end well.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You know, this was the classic case of when you leave people to their own devices, they tend to self-destruct. When you have a lack of a male presence, when you have a lack of leadership, when you have a lack of practicality, all of these things are missed out on. And this is why fathers are so important in households, because at least if a father is there, maybe an uncle, maybe a brother, someone that's a bit older, they would be able to properly give the right instructions or give the right path for someone. But once you're left to your own devices and you start making decisions, those decisions tend to not align with exactly what they want out of life. If you want a family, if you want to have some type of structure, you want to be able to do these type of nice things like go away on vacation and eat out at restaurants and things like that. There's no structure given. There's no instructions given. They're just doing whatever they want. They're walking around not knowing how much it's going to cost. They're walking around not knowing how to prioritize the person that's going to provide it for them. You have no information, but again, you just expect it to work. You just expect to snap your fingers together or slap your hands together and something is just going to appear from the sound. It's not going to. There needs to be more structure. There needs to be more there needs to be more of a masculine presence and leadership to show these women this is how you get things. This is what you should be worried about. This is what you need to think about. And there's not enough of that. Too many are just doing whatever they want, expecting to get the same outcomes as people who's putting in the work. But everyone, please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. Turn on post notifications so you will be alerted when we upload more videos just like this one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.